Hey everybody, Z Garcia here, and today we're going to be joining other contestants from around the world to show off our knowledge in Guess Club. Guess Club here is not really a knowledge game. This is not a trivia game. It's a guessing game, of course, and it's a bidding game in which you are going to be filling out entries that fit some category, like types of sandwiches. And so you fill out 6 entries, and then you are going to go around the table playing those cards and seeing who you match, betting on how many matches you think there will be among everybody sitting at the table. That's the general flow in the game. And then, of course, making money from correct guesses, from playing something that other people did guess as well. Most money at the end is going to be the winner. So let's go ahead and take a look at how the game works. I'll see you on the other side. To set up the game, we're going to give each player $150 in the tokens included here. They're going to get one of these card holders. That's the front. This is the back here. And then you get the cards in your color. These are basically some that you can write on and then wipe them clean, okay? And you've got different colors here with different illustrations on them. Very neat artwork, so we're just going to grab these over here, all right? So I'm going to set the rest of these aside, and I'm only going to leave one of these boards right here. You're also going to get your matching tokens, and then you are ready to begin. You're going to put this board in the center of the table. This little bowl here has 30 in it, and then there's a glass bead right here on the 0, which might be hard to pick up, but it's right there, okay? And this board here with bonuses for the 3 rounds in the game. This is dependent on the number of players, the amount. All right, and then you're ready to go. So the way it works is we're going to play 3 rounds, and during each round, whoever the leader is for the round is going to come up with a category. Or you can use the variant, which is you take a card and pick one of the categories on it. You can do that. You can go back and forth between those 2 ideas. You can do it however you want to, but it's very open-ended. You can pick whatever you want, as long as there are lots of choices for categories out there. So not something that is very narrow, but something that has a lot of possible choices. So for example, let's say player draws this one and picks characters in Star Wars. And there's even some examples that if people are stumped, they can say, well, give me some examples. And you can read these out. They can use them, not use them, whatever you want. So characters in Star Wars. Everybody then takes their cards here, and they are going to write characters in Star Wars. So I might say, Luke, write that, and then Darth Vader, and Vader. I don't know why. I wrote Darth David. That's a different guy. There we go, Darth David. Little-known cousin of Darth Vader. C3PO, whatever you want. Once you've got them all, you are going to put them in this little rack, this little card holder thing you've got. And the way this works is like this. You can kind of stick them on there like that, and they stay put. It's pretty cool. And then we begin the round proper once everybody's got their answers, okay? So starting from the start player, they are going to do one of 2 things, all right? You can play a card. You can play one. Say, I got Luke Skywalker over here. Anybody who has Luke around the table is going to show it now. And if anyone matches with you, even one person, but it doesn't really matter how many, then you win the pot. You take that, put it in your stock. We move the glass bead 1 up. Again, no matter how many people match, as long as there was a match. And then we refill the pot. All right? And then the next person goes, and they might pull one. Now, if you pull one, say C3PO, and nobody chose C3PO, you pay a penalty of 10 from your own stock into the pot. So that's the first choice, taking one down and either matching, hopefully, or not, and then having to pay. The second option is putting out a bet of where you think that glass bead is going to stop when someone has no cards at all. Any one person around the table has none of these at all. And you pay 10 into the pot and take one of your tokens and put it somewhere. So if I think there are going to be 5 matches, I'll put it right there on the 5. Now another player, a single other player, can also bid on 5, but once there are 2 bids on a spot, no more bids can be on that spot. And again, every time you want to make one of these, you just pay 10 into the pot. And so the game keeps going with players playing cards, possibly making these bets. Every time a match happens, the glass bead moving up 1 until someone has fully run out of cards. Not everybody, just one person. And then we see what happens. If anybody is correct, then they are going to, if it's a single player who has that spot, let's say it was 5 and I'm alone there, then I win the entire pot and I get the bonus for the first round. If 2 players were there, which is the max, then they split that. And if there's a 10 that cannot be split evenly, then whoever bid on there first is going to get that 10. Then we can wipe these clean, and we have the next player then either pick a category or pull a category, and we do the next round, with now the bonus being that, and then the third round again with a slightly bigger bonus. And don't forget, every time that the pot is emptied, it gets refilled with 30 from the bank. And that's it. Whoever has the most money at the end of the game is the winner of the guest club. This is a game that, from the rules, doesn't seem like it's going to be as much fun as it turns out to be. I don't want to say that the rules seem dry. It just doesn't seem like it's going to be like there's going to be a lot of laughter, a lot of, messing with each other, that sort of game. But that definitely develops in the game. And especially if you give in to the silly kind of hoity-toity theme, that even doubles down on the fun. Because the idea of all these, important, glamorous people from around the world coming together to play what they're doing in this game is ridiculous. And so I like that about it. And the game is just fun and engaging, and it's long enough to be satisfying, but short enough to kind of leave you wanting more. Anyway, let's go ahead and talk about it, all right? I'm going to break it down from the top, starting with the theme. Like I said, the whole hoity-toity discussions, but of very silly things, I think is funny. I think it's charming. It definitely can lead to some funny table talk, so I really like the theme here. The aesthetics are great. The card holders are insanely cool. I mean, it's just like so neat. And then the dry erase little pads work well. The money's good. The bowl just is neat. You put this little bowl in the center of the table and fill it with money and empty it and take your cash out of there. So I think everything in it looks very good. The replay value, well, since you can provide your own answers, or your own categories rather, then it really has a ton of replayability. And then you have this deck as kind of a backup, and that's probably the best way to do it after you've played at least once, is to have folks try to come up with their own thing, and then if it doesn't work out, if they're feeling pressure, they're not coming up with anything, then use that resource as a backup, as a resource, to draw something and go, oh, okay, that'll work. I'll say this thing. So I really like that about it. Now, because the game goes up to so many players, it goes up to 8. And it's only 3 rounds. The turn order could be a little bit of a problem. But it really shouldn't matter. I mean, it's a party game, and if you added even more rules to try to balance the fact that, whoever is sitting very much after the first player is going to go later, all rounds, then that's too much weight on such a simple frame for this game. It didn't seem to be an issue. I did not play with 8, but it didn't seem to be an issue, and I wouldn't worry about it, okay? But that's what I'm saying about that, where the turn order could be problematic if you care that much about such things in this game. The game arc, it plays very smoothly. The 3 rounds are quick. Like I said, it's enough to satisfy you, but I could definitely see instances where folks are going to just want to play again. Everybody wants to be the one that picks a topic. So maybe you're playing with 6 and you play 2 games. Going once around with the first 3, and then the other 3 will provide a category in separate settings, right? Like restarting your cache. And you could even write that down and then add your score from the second game to your score from the first game. And that's your final score. See who did the best. Because the game's not that long. you're going to play for 25, 30 minutes maybe. And so you could fill out an hour with 2 games with 6 players, and everybody went first. The whole thing at that point is quote-unquote fair, and that's taken care of. Ease of play. There are more rules in this than the average or the typical party game, because the game has a lot of steps and the emptying of the bowl and replenishing and bidding and getting a wrong answer, maybe being challenged on an answer. There's a rule also where if you have an illegal entry, so that you don't break the system, if you say something that just doesn't make sense and more than half the table challenges you on that not being a legal entry, you pay a penalty. Also at the end, because not everybody's boards are revealed, you still have to reveal it and make sure all your entries are valid so that you weren't, again, kind of gaming the system, and you pay for those invalid entries if they are deemed to be that. So again, a few more rules than you would think, but it is fairly easy to play, and it's got a good rule book. Everything makes sense and flows well. Lastly, tactics, luck, strategy. It's a party game, so it's not very high, but hedging your guesses, hedging your bets, knowing when to do one thing versus doing another, being tempted by the pot having not just the 30 it's seeded with, but maybe like a couple of players just guessed and they were both wrong, or maybe like one player made a bet and they put in 10, so it's at 40. And the next player plays a card and they're wrong. Nobody has that, so they put in 10. Now it's your turn. You could bet, because the round seems like it's nearing an end, and maybe you should bet. But if you play a card and it's right, you get all 50, not just 30. That's pretty good. So I like those kinds of choices, and I think that's interesting, you know. But again, it's a party game. There's not a lot of strategy to this. You're not going to be sitting there, sort of mulling over your guesses going, well, should I put this in? Because I know Steve over there is going to put it in, but I don't think Jackie's going to put it in. You're not going to do that, okay? However, overall, as you can see, I like this game quite a bit. It's got a lot of positives. I like the package. I like the presentation. I like the idea. I like that it looks serious, but it's so silly. I love the juxtaposition of that, of the whole, guess club. Like, if you looked at this game, you might think it's an economic game, which it is, but it's also a silly party game. So the whole thing works for me quite a bit. So overall, this one's going to get from me an 8.5 out of 10. That means it's a seal of excellence. I think this is an excellent party game. I would probably stick with, say, 6. I don't know if I want to go all the way up to 8, but you can. But I really enjoyed it. It's a blast. I absolutely had a great time playing it. It's also language independent, which is nice. That means I can play with my family playing in Spanish. I can't use the cards included, but as long as everybody comes up with an entry, we can just write entries in Spanish, play in Spanish. You can play in any language, right? So I really like that quite a bit as well. So there you go. 8.5 out of 10. Excellent. That's it, everybody. Thanks for checking this out with me. Check this game out. My name is Garcia, and I'm going to see you on the next one.